Making stamps, plaster and clay stamps for decorating wet clay. Starting with clay stamps, you always want to make sure you've got an even surface to work with. If you want to put text on your stamps, you can transfer it with graphite from tracing paper. That puts the letters in reverse because text would have to be in reverse on a stamp. I did this on wet clay, and now I am trimming away the excess clay to get the shape of the stamp that I want, because the outer edge of your stamp will be the shape that is left as an impression in the clay. I'm then putting the letters into the clay using various sharp metal tools. This is wet clay, so the precision isn't as good as it would be in leather hard clay, but it works. You'll notice that with the needle tool, I'm using it on its side rather than the tip when I'm making straight lines. This makes more even marks. And I'm turning the clay around so that the point of the tool is facing towards the end of the line, which gives me a cleaner end to my lines. And because this is clay, if you make a mistake, you can always add more clay back. You can go back and refine things as long as the clay doesn't dry out, which means that after I roughed out these letters in the wet clay, I could go back into the leather hard clay and refine them. I then let the stamp get bone dry. And if you let your stamp get bone dry, you can test it by stamping it carefully into wet clay. And you can actually use it several times this way before it's fired to see the results of what you got. And if you like your results, you can bisque fire it and it will last for years. You can also use plaster to make your own stamps, particularly if you're someone who makes molds and ends up with bits of extra plaster lying around. These can be shaped into stamps and then carved with anything that's hard enough to carve plaster. Here I'm using a selection of sharp metal tools. The thing with plaster is that you need to be more careful in making your marks, because if you make a mistake, you can't fix it, which is why you'll see me going over the lines several times. First, I make a light line, and then I go back and carve it deeper. I also use a drill bit to make our circle, which means you can use a variety of tools to get different shapes carved. This is a messy process. Makes a lot of plaster dust, so make sure that you're not working around any clay that you might need to use. Make sure you clean your stamp off after you're done. If you've got the time, washing it with water before you use it would be smart, as well as brushing off the plaster dust left over from carving. And of course, make sure you clean your work area after you're done so that you're not leaving plaster dust around in your space. And then the plaster stamps are very durable. They will last for years and can be used for a variety of purposes.